Alright, so I drilled the first countersink to the depth of the thickness of the nut, and then with the bit bottomed out in that hole I set my depth stop, so now it's going to be real easy to do the other one. As far as the position of the hole, kind of a catch-22. The further out it is towards the edge, the more likely I'm going to have the board split right here from the forces on it. The other thing is that the further out it is, though, the wider apart the wheels will sit, which might make it more stable. So it's kind of a compromise, put it at that position. Oh, I actually made the holes a little bit deeper than the depth of the nut because I want to accommodate a washer. So now I'm going to bore the center hole, and I've got a big washer in there and tighten the nuts on, and the first one is done. Now obviously it's not stable at all this way, but once it's bolted to the bottom of the leg, it should be okay. Alright, gonna be hard for you guys to see on the camera because I'm working in this back corner where it's dark again, but I've got the thing jacked up, same method as I used, some big 4x4 cribbing, and that's spreading the load out on the bottom edge of that chip pan so that I'm not stressing any one spot on the chip pan with the top of the bottle jack. And I've got it about 4 or 5 inches up off the ground, but I think I'm close to the end of the travel on the bottle jack, so I'll have to get some temporary blocking underneath the legs, release the bottle jack, put some more cribbing in there to get it higher, and repeat until I get high enough to get that makeshift dolly assembly underneath there. Alright, I've got it underneath there. I've still got most of the weight on the, I've just got it lightly resting on here. I'm going to now drill holes and put some big lag bolts in here to bolt the legs down to the top of my makeshift little dolly. Well, there it is, bolted up to that side. Provided those casters don't collapse, should be able to roll now. Well, I got called away, unfortunately, on the job, and by the time I got back today, well, it's already getting later in the day, so I'm losing my light. Also took me a while to find my long rope, but I've got that anchored out the door a ways away. Problem is that's a one of those big heavy anchor ropes for a good sized boat, and it's got a lot of stretch to it, so I don't know whether or not I'm going to be able to get this to budge any before it reaches its limit of stretching. Well, I had quite a bit of tension on it. It still wasn't moving, so I put the big steel pry bar behind the dolly there, and gave it a little nudge. All of a sudden it rolled out kind of quickly. Gave me a bit of a scare. Had to hop back. Didn't want that thing to flop off and kill me. But maybe that's a little too dramatic. Better safe than sorry. So anyways, that at least proves the point that this will effectively somewhat roll. Thing is, I don't even know if those casters look like they're full swivel casters, but I don't know if they're going to want to swivel very much with that much weight on them, and because of their age. But the good news is it did move a little bit, so we got something going. Well, I was actually just able to make it roll some more just by a little push, because there seemed to be a little bit of a downhill right there in this uneven concrete floor, so very uneven floor. So now I don't really want it swinging out that way anymore until it starts coming out this way, because I got to clear this corner of this little room that was built into the middle of this place. So I just let off the slack on the chain fall, and I'm going to move the tractor up. That's my anchor. There's a swing set post over there that's cemented into the ground. It's really sturdy. Got the rope going around that, and I've looped onto the tractor, onto the bush hog, and I got the tractor parking brake set, so not using the Oliver because the Oliver doesn't have brakes. Well, I didn't have a good view from where I was sitting on the tractor of what was going on here, but I didn't really put much tension on it, and it looked like it started to roll. And actually, I don't know what happened, but I had a 2x4 underneath here that was supposed to act as a brake, and I don't know if that just got pushed along or what, but the whole thing now has swung down, hit this shelf. It's up against this shelf right now. So I've still got the same problem I had a minute ago, which is that now it's not only was it moving too far that way, it's now run into the corner over here. So I got to see whether or not I can get that rear end, I guess, to swing out this way. And then, I don't know if you can see it, but the rear end's still in the corner there. If I can get the rear end to swing out this way, and then maybe, boy, I don't know how I'm going to get that to move back over to this direction though. Well, I was going to wait until I got out near the opening here and use the loader to lift this big heavy old motor off of the bracket that it's on over here, because it's a lot of weight just hanging out here at an odd, position. It's making it even less stable than it already is. But now, in lieu of my recent conundrum here, I think I'm going to just try and take that motor off. The idea being maybe I can get the four-wheeler back in here and slide a plank on it and slide it off onto the rack on the four-wheeler again, because that sucker it's heavy and it's just kind of sticking out here on this end. So I just unbolted the control box that was up top there. That's a really old style box anyway, so I don't think I'm going to want to reuse it. Well, I tell you, I got this motor unbolted and I got the chain off. I just tried lifting it a little bit, and I think I can lift that up. I'm going to get a little dirty, but I think I can actually lift it up and maybe a platform to put it on. So I have to bend down towards the ground. I don't think I'm going to hurt my back if I do this right. Alright, that worked out. So I got that off of there. What do we have on here? This is just a piece of plywood and a thick wood block. Now this stuff here, there really isn't 2x4 wedged in there as a support. There really isn't much weight left here, but I'm going to take this stuff off just because it's a hazard. This is a sharp corner sticking out here, and this bracket here I'll take off. Should be able to take those off pretty easily. Well, it's getting dark, so I got to work fast, but there are some big bolts that he used to hold on this big piece of angle iron over here that was holding up that platform for the motor to sit on. And I can't tell in the dark here, but I don't know whether or not those holes would have been there for some reason, or if he actually drilled and tapped holes in the side of the bed. But there were two down here holding the bottom bracket here, and then two right there with these spacers that he custom made for that angle iron to clear this bracket right here. So it's quite the contraption he devised here to make that work.